Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Growth Path. Today I have a fellow fractional marketer on. Giacomo's been running a fractional marketing community, but also some of his experiences around, he's been head of product at Qubit, innovator advisor, Inskip entrepreneurs, entrepreneur in residence, product to grow to start a VC, sparring partner for bold innovators, aspiring startups, been a product mentor for 500 Global. Giacomo has been a seasoned 0 to 1 product marketer with over 7 years of experience in early stage startups. He also drives products from concept to MVP and through to Series A. He's also driven by a mission to empower 1 million aspiring entrepreneurs and acts as a sparring partner, pressure testing strategies, challenging assumptions, and ensuring that startups are market ready. So now I can take a breath and then really just welcome you to the podcast. Welcome
That's
on,
great.
How are you, man?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good. Look, give us a little bit of a flavor. Like, there's a lot of stuff in that experience there, and there's a lot of a lot of different roles and titles, etc., that you've had. Give me a little bit of a flavor of what you do right now.
So, right now, I divide my time in two, mainly, which is roughly half of my week. I'm a fractional product manager, or sometimes I also take gigs as a venture builder. Okay, still fractional. The other half of my week, more or less, I'm a product coach, mostly for acceleration programs. Most of these acceleration programs are with 500 Global, but I also run other acceleration programs with other networks, local networks, and stuff like this.
Interesting. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about 500 Global. What do 500 Global do?
So 500 Global is one of the most famous acceleration network in the world. Probably the only one that is more famous than it is Y Combinator. But 500 Global is bigger actually in terms of how big the network is, how many startups, and also the portfolio value. They run programs wherever in the world right now, in many different geographies in which they want to invest. And they occasionally ask somebody to jump in their programs to give specific expertise, advice. And so I jump in their programs every once in a while as a product coach. In particular, you asked before about my flavor. My PM flavor is mostly about early stage startup. So it's early stage product management, which is most of the things you read about product management refer to more mature companies, in which there is a more structure, a product leadership, many things that somebody needs to build them before they don't just companies don't start with all of this. And so I'm one of the people who got there and built the foundation for all the rest of the product function to grow.
Nice. How did you get involved with 500 Global?
They used to have a form on their website in which you could apply as a mentor. I applied and I went through their application process and everything. And then I was coupled to some of their startups for one-on-one calls. And then they asked me to jump into one of their program, which was very cool to me in Cairo, Egypt. And then
Nice.
it was apparently a good experience for both because they keep asking me to join some of their programs. So it's a lot of fun for me. It's incredibly, I mean, it's food for mind, basically, food for brain. And because you get exposed to a lot of different startups working in different industries with different business models. And this is something which is incredibly thought provoking. And I think this is something that they feel that it's something that I like and that I put all my passion and expertise to do.
Do you have a wheelhouse type of customer that works best for you, or are you happy to fit into any type of early stage product work?
So I don't have specific industries that I work with more. Right now, in the last year, I've worked more with fintech startups than usual, but that's purely by accident, I would say. There are some verticals that I usually don't work with much, which are mainly health tech, or specifically, I mean, everything related to deep tech slash biotech. Okay, everything related to new drugs, pharma, stuff like this, because this is a most of the time. So the kind of challenge that I try to solve is, will this make sense if we build it? Will people want it? And also how to make it in a way that people like to use it and find it valuable, etc. With some industries, The problem is not if they want it or not. I mean, if you're promising a better cure for cancer, you know that they want it. The problem is, are you able to develop it or not? So every time that there is, when the biggest risk is around research and development and not market risk, that's not my place, I would say.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So what are some of the things that like you obviously have a checklist when you come in, right? So that's why Global 500 are working with you. They know that you're able to come in and offer a certain view on the world or point people in a certain direction. What are some of the things that you see often when you go into an early stage organization? What are some of the things they're doing wrong and some of the things that they can watch out for example?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that the most classical things that I wouldn't say they are doing wrong. I would say that they are trying to, it's a challenge. They're trying to understand how to deal with it. Is developing the MVP. Well, this is one of the most common because there is a huge misunderstanding that MVP is just a rebranding for the alpha version or beta version of your product, but it's not like that. And so one of the things that I get asked more oftenly is, yeah, I launched an MVP. I got a lot of feedback. What do I do with this feedback? How do I prioritize this, etc.? And so this is something that I do. Another thing that I see, and this is, I would say, it's a mistake that they do. Oftentimes they cannot focus. So given that they try something, and when you try something at the beginning, it doesn't work. Whatever you're trying, it's very unlikely that something works at the very beginning. You have to make them work. Okay. And so something that I see is that they try something, it doesn't work so well, and so they expand the scope again and again and again. And so in the early stages, you often see teams that are very, they lose focus very easily. They are very dispersed onto a lot of very small optimizations. But the things that I try to help them understand is, if you have thousands of visitors on your website, for example, thousands of people in your companies, in your pipeline, optimizing one step by 1%, it's a big deal. It's something that changes. Okay, they're big. But if your funnel is very small, you're at the very beginning, you're not aiming for 1% more. You're looking for a big leverage. You're looking you have to place big bets and find something that work. And so I try to help them coming up with a one metric that matters, and try to say, okay, for this period we are solving this. We are full in on this. There are many other things that they might get wrong, or they are not intentional enough about, or they're not serious, or they didn't think about it much. But another thing that is worth mentioning is defining very well your target audience, in particular, who is your early adopter. This is something that I see that part of it is the investor's fault, because they insist over this, okay, size your market and everything. But okay, it's okay, you have to size your market, try to understand how big it is, whatever. But what is your beachhead market? What are you starting with? And this is something that I see most of the issues that come up later on. They, I mean, they start with this, that they are not so laser focused about who we are serving specifically, and for doing what. Why do they need us? Why do they like us? And this means that if you're not focused at the beginning, you waste a lot of money and time in wrong advertising. And you lose a lot of money and time in developing the wrong features, because you're not so this is very, I think this is very important.
Yeah, like the issue with that is for most early stage startups as well, they're just willing to cater to anybody that's willing to take their money most often, right? Oh shit, like this particular type of company is showing some level of intent, let's say, with that with the product that I have to offer. Let's like go down that rabbit hole. And that's something I've seen so many companies, like they can grow up until a certain point of time within a specific vertical or within a specific persona. Or let's talk about in volume SaaS, right? So in volume SaaS, you might have thousands of users that might be from completely wrong ICP. Like, and they're paying you a certain amount every month, which is not a huge amount, but they're paying you every month. And then you're in a situation where you've probably exhausted that particular market. All of the feature set and everything that you've created has been tailored to that specific market set, and your MRR is stuck, right? And you only realize that after 5 or 6 years. And
And
I've
this is
seen
not the
that.
worst. This is not the worst scenario, because there is
Yeah,
also an even worse scenario, which is when some of the features you develop are basically for one or two customers that requested them, and nobody else or almost uses them. This is even
that's
worse.
more prevalent. That's like in my experience, it's more prevalent in sales led growth model, right? Where you have like a large customer that's asking for, hey, we need this specific feature. And then you're like, oh shit, we better do it because like they might churn otherwise, and that's going to put us in a bad position, right? That's normally where I've come across that. In volume SaaS, it's like, okay, that and I've seen that recently with one particular company I was working with. They put all their eggs into one basket, being like, okay, this is the focus now, and it's like our users are paying them, I don't know, $20 a month. So it's something that costs the same as Netflix, right? People don't even realize they're paying it, and then you get to a point where the market starts to run out of steam. There's nothing left, and they've developed something that's for that segment, and that segment doesn't really give a shit about it, or something has changed or whatever. And now they're like, oh no, we need to create something completely new. And what is that going to be? We don't even know ourselves because we've been catering to this specific market, this specific need. But it's really interesting. So how we came across Giacomo was one of the co-founders of Purple Path. Balash is our product marketing guy. You know Balash. You guys have met. I think you guys are connected via a common network. Let's talk about that quickly.
He,
How did
I
we work
hired him.
together?
I hired him, by the
There
way,
you go.
and it
There you
was a
go. You're
great
hired,
hire.
Balash.
Yeah,
There you
it was a
go.
great hire. And so
There you
we,
go.
after I left the company for which I hired him for, which he was a freelance hire, we kept in contact because he is amazing. And so, and we are still in contact through a community, very small community, small embedded community of tech freelancers, which is something, I mean, it's basically one of the things that I created to scratch my own itch, because the so I'm a freelancer myself, and something that happens a lot are two scenarios that in particular that I created this for. The first one is clients of mine asking me, hey, can you suggest us a good freelance product designer or a good freelance developer or a freelance marketer, whatever, and they want people like you and I, people that usually hits the ground running. They don't need long onboarding time, and they're very fast, and they do something and they don't stay forever. Usually they know they have a specific task, a specific project to carry on, and they're good and they're fast at doing this. And so I had my own small network of people, but I quickly saturated that small network. And some of these people were like, hey, we want to pay you a referral fee because we're working a lot for the things that you're passing us. And I was like, okay, let's connect these two things: the potential economic incentive and the need for building a larger community of trusted people. And so I created Uba, which is a very small community, invite only. You can only get invited by another person in the community. And there is a built-in referral mechanism, very small referral mechanism, but it helps people like me solve a problem, which is how do I find a good person for a client? Because if you are able to, this is not one of my service. I'm not an HR, but I see
Yeah.
that if I come up into a project and then something they realize they need someone, and I'm able to source this person very quickly, the right person, this is a huge value add to my services, because this is
Of
something. I
course.
mean, they hire you because they want to get things done,
Of
and
course.
if you need other people to get things done and you're fast at taking them on board, that's great. This also turned up turned out to help me with another itch that I have, which is sometimes, luckily, I'm at capacity. Most of the times right now, I'm at capacity. So there are some prospect clients that I have to say, hey, I would love to work with you, but I cannot. But I've seen that being able to give them an alternative, that's very good, because this is something. So if you just say no, or you say no, but I will help you find the right person for this, and they like the person that you help them find, they will keep you in their mind as a point of reference for that matters. So if it's no, okay, you're forgotten. If it's not, but I help you, it's very likely that it happened to me, that later on, when they have another project, they ask you, hey, can you take this time? And this is very helpful. It also allows me, having a monetization incentive attached to it, also allows me keep dedicating time and resources to marketing my services. So posting on LinkedIn, whatever it is. If you're at capacity, you might think that it makes no sense because you're at capacity already. Why should you dedicate more time to it? Part of the reply is keep dedicating time to it for a rainy day because you never know. But another part of my reply is, okay, even in the sunny days, you have somebody else to place and you get something back, which makes it worth it to keep investing in it.
That's a great idea, man. It's a really good idea. Like I find it myself being fractional, it's hard. Like the only thing that you can't scale is time, right? And when you're at capacity, as you said, like you can be like, oh well, the sun is shining, everything is great. And also to try to find the time to also run something or to even do things like LinkedIn, for example, to make sure that stuff is coming in as a steady pipeline in the future, whatever. It can also be difficult because you're like, hey, shit, I'm actually working. I'm flat out at the moment. I don't need to worry about this right now because I'm currently at a capacity. But there's this idea of having something that's flowing in the background. And ultimately, eventually, if you're able to place enough people, you don't necessarily need to worry too much. Your capacity or your level of capacity can go down. It doesn't matter, right? So that's really cool, man. How many people are in the community?
It's like 50 people right now. Some of them are not active anymore because some of them get hired full time or stuff like this. So I would say active people is around 35.
Okay.
But it's very, I mean, we can source people like in 1 hour, 2 hours. It's very, very fast. So people like it. And I mean, it's very flexible. So it's very it's up to you to decide, okay, I'm available for an intro to this project or not. And you see that it works very well for freelancers because there are sunny days, there are rainy days, and there are cloudy days in which it looks like you're gonna land this gig and you say, hey, no, I'm probably at capacity, I'm not interested in that intro. Then this gig doesn't materialize for whatever reason, and you come back in the community and say, hey, maybe I'm interested to that intro. And then by the time you make that intro, maybe this gig comes back and you're hired for that and you're okay and you're at capacity. This is very flexible. We're like, guys, we're introducing you to each other. You like each other, you work with each other. You don't,
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean, it's just we're suggesting, we're not a placement agency, we're not a HR agency, nothing like this. It's like we are just matchmakers, and it's up to you to decide if you want to do it. And it works very well for them, I see. But this is something that I created for my own problem. And then I noticed that was not only my own problem.
How did you set it up? How did this all come about?
Sorry again?
How did you end up setting it up? Obviously, the idea behind it makes sense, but how did you manage to grow the network? How did you manage to get people into it? How does the whole mechanism work?
So at the very beginning, it was I invited the people that I started referring for the initial gigs, people in my network. So the very beginning was my network, okay, on it. Fractionals and freelancers in my network that I trusted and that I liked and that I worked with. So the initial rule was you can only invite people that you worked with in a project. The problem is that this is very high level of vetting because you can say, hey, I work with this person. I've seen this person. I know what they're good about, what they're not good about, everything, but maybe even to a high level. And so we moved it to, even if you've not worked together, you were not colleagues, but you will say, hey, I know this person, I know they're good, and you want to invite them into the community, you can invite them. And so it's growing slowly and steadily with invites. Okay, we are all inviting people that if some people externally wants to join, they basically have to find an invite or something, or there is an application form that they can fill. But in that application form, we ask who invited them to the community. So the reason why is that, of course, we can make some exceptions in case of very good people that's obviously and very good. But in general, the idea behind is if I'm referring someone who told me, I mean, who's like saying, hey, this is good. This person is
Yeah.
good. You should hire them.
Got it.
So the
Yeah.
idea is that there is always another person in the community that knows the freelancers that's applying. Somebody invited that person. And so you can ask them, hey, what's your opinion? Do you know if they handle this kind of project, etc.? It's working very well in terms of trust. And so far, none of the people we introduced, we never had one single company say, hey, you introduced us to the wrong person. We're not liking working with it. So this is a signal that the quality is very high. And also once the introduction is done, the percentage of successful introductions, I mean, intros that end up with somebody getting hired is high. So it's a good network, I would say.
No, that's really good, man. That's really good. Like, congratulations on that. That sounds excellent. Good stuff.
Okay.
Well done. That's perfect. Okay, man. Look, we're just after coming up to the end of time here. So, where can people find you?
LinkedIn mainly. That's where I'm most active. So just by my name and surname, and yeah, that's my main channel, I would say.
Perfect. We'll make sure that all the everything's put in the description of this episode and everything. Giacomo, thanks so much for coming on, mate. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers. Guys, this has been another episode of Growth Path. Tune in again next week for more great content. Thanks, Giacomo.
Thank you.